Good evening. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. We are again following our analyte solutions. And before we can continue, I'd like to request you to subscribe, like, share, and comment this video. In this video particularly, we are going to look at testing for nickel 2 ions in solution. If we have a solution and we suspect that we have nickel 2 ions, what are the observations that we require to see, or what we can be able in position to see? So I have test tubes in front of me here, and all of them are having a solution. We presume that it is containing nickel 2 ions. First off, I'm going to start testing this with the sodium hydroxide solution, and we see what should be the observation. So when I add a few drops of sodium hydroxide in this solution, we shall see a green precipitate, as you can observe it here, a green precipitate, and we are going to add it until in excess. And in excess, we can observe that the green precipitate has persisted. It is still there. So when we add sodium hydroxide solution in nickel 2 ions, we observe a green precipitate which is insoluble in excess. So next, we shall use ammonia solution, and we see what happens when we add drops of ammonia solution in our analyte solution. So when I add a few drops of ammonia solution, we observe a green precipitate still, and I'm going to add it until in excess. In excess, we can see that the precipitate is dissolving to form a blue solution, or a deep blue solution. So when we add ammonia solution in nickel 2 ions, we observe a green precipitate initial on addition of few drops, and when we add excess drops, this precipitate dissolves to form a blue solution. Then lastly, these two are what we call preliminary tests for nickel 2 ions. Then we are going to look at the confirmatory tests. What can we confirm these nickel 2 ions with? So first, we added sodium hydroxide. We saw a green precipitate insoluble in excess sodium hydroxide solution. And we added ammonia solution to the same solution of nickel. We saw a green precipitate which dissolved to form a blue solution. Then lastly, we are going to add dimethyl glyoxime in this test, and we see what happens. So addition of dimethyl glyoxime acts as a confirmatory test for our nickel 2 ions. So I'm going to pick a few using a dropper from this, and then I will add it to this test tube, and we see what will happen. So when we add drops of dimethyl glyoxime in nickel 2 ion solution, we see a blood red precipitate. As you can see, this precipitate becomes blood red. So when we do this, we say that we are sure, or we have confirmed, that nickel 2 ions are present in our test solution. So thank you for watching. That is what I had for us today. Before I can conclude, I would like to request you to subscribe, like, share, and comment with your friends. Let's meet again in my next video.